Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Jamel from Fantasy Life, and in today's episode of Breakdown, I bring you Konan. Basically, we're going to be going through her jutsus, seeing the range and damage of her jutsus and ultimate, as well as her attack power and speed, as well as how much chakra they take from her. So let's get into this. Okay, so in her base form, her speed is for the most part pretty average. She does have a cool animation in which paper kind of flaps in the wind and she kind of turns into paper and floats a bit. But that does not add anything to her speed. Her speed is roughly average, on par with basically Kakashi and most other players in this particular game. So let's get into her tilt. Her tilt is pretty mid-range, basically. Not even, her tilt is extremely close range actually, so I do not recommend doing her tilt, because if you're going to be that close, you might as well start the combo. Another thing too, whereas in other iterations you can kind of spam her kuranais, her shurikens, you can't really do that in this. Her shurikens are basically just regular shurikens in this particular game, even though they do have really good tracking on them. Now, her jutsu does roughly 10% damage, between 10 and 15% damage. It takes roughly 30% chakra, so you can only do it 3 times before having to charge up again. It does extend the length of the map, so no matter where they are on the map, if they are standing still, it will reach them and hit them. And the benefit of it is it knocks them straight up into the air. So if you are close enough, you can actually do air combos on them. So that's a big benefit. Let's get into combos. Her grab is a really close grab as well. She doesn't have any reach on her particular grab. Now her tilt, again, very close range tilt. It has slight range to it, but not much. If you are that close to the opponent, you might as well just start attacking them. Does roughly, if you were to hit them with a full tilt, you're looking at roughly 5% damage. Again, not a tilt that's really worth doing. Let's get into her ultra. So her ultra is a really close range ultra. It cannot be performed at a distance, and just like all ultras, it takes 30% chakra if you miss and 40% if you connect. So let's connect it. It's a cool looking ultra, I will say that. And just like every other ultra, it takes roughly 30 to 35% damage on the opponent. But again, you have to be fairly close to the opponent in order to hit them with it. Okay, so now we're going to get into her awakening state. So in her awakening state, she's actually a lot faster in her awakening state. It must be probably because she's floating around, but there is an animation in which, as you can see, she is floating around, and she is a lot faster. She is definitely one of the faster moving people in her transformed state. So she does still have the same tilt. Well, actually her tilt is slightly changed. It has slightly more range on it, but still not a tilt worth really doing. Her jutsu is the same exact jutsu. It does do more damage, so you're now looking at roughly 15% damage. She does have extra jutsus in which she has the paper servant dance explosions, which in my opinion is amazing. It's definitely one of the best jutsus in the game. Only because not only is it a projectile that will stretch across the entire screen and hit the opponent if they are staying stationary, of course. It explodes on impact, so even if they do block it, it will chip away at their defenses, as well as keep them still for a brief moment of time for you to follow up with some more attacks. So that's a really, really good move. Another thing too, if the opponent was to jump over this, as you can see, it leaves a trail of exploding papers behind it. So if they were to jump up over it and then try to chakra dash at you, they do they do risk the chance of running into the paper bombs that are trailing behind it. So it's a really good offensive with defensive attributes to it. Okay, another cool thing too is that it knocks you up in the air, which allows you to then go in for an air combo. Or if you can time it correctly, you can do that and then do the jutsu and hit them for more damage. It does not consume any chakra, and it doesn't do much damage. You're only looking at roughly 5% damage if you hit them with it. Now, another cool thing about Konan in her transformed state is that her attacks do more damage. She does get a damage buff. So her attacks do roughly 15% damage, which is not a lot. But her shurikens are now attacks. So these are her shurikens. She only has one combo with it, but it does turn her into a long-range fighter in which she can then combo you from a distance, and they do a ton of damage, as you can see. They have a wide damage radius, so it is hard for the opponent to escape them. And they do the same amount of damage whether you're up close or far away. So let's see the amount of damage. So it takes roughly 20% damage, which is actually more than her regular combo. And that's one of the best things about this particular Konan, is that not only does she has all of these cool jutsus, these cool long-range jutsus that she can use both offensively and defensively, she also can spam an array of paper bombs. She can throw a bunch of paper bombs at you to keep you at a distance and do some serious damage to you from a distance. And if you were to get up close on her, she does have some good combos for up close battles as well. Now in her base state, her combos do about 10% damage, not much damage. Her down combo does slightly more, but it's still between 10 and 15% damage. She's not a very powerful character, unfortunately, which is her weakness. Her up combo only does roughly 10 to 15% damage. So her biggest weakness is that she's not the most powerful character in the game, unfortunately. She does hit relatively soft, but she does have an array of attacks, and she does have one of the better awakenings in the game. Okay, that's my review of Konan. I hope you guys learned something. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe, because it does help the channel. This is Jamel from Fantasy Life, reminding you, your life is a fantasy.